I'm joined right now by Al Snow, Chavo Guerrero Jr., wrestling legends in their own right. We're actually going to be talking about a project you guys are working on together. Uh,
Yeah.
Somewhat of maybe a team that you wouldn't expect, but when I'm thinking more
Uh,
about it, it makes sense. You have the Adventures of Al Snow and Head featuring Chavo Guerrero Jr., but uh,
yeah,
Head and Pepe, you each have your own companions, so you're used to team ups.
right.
Exactly.
They're along for the
Yeah,
ride. So tell me more
right.
about the project. How you
Have
guys
Have you
linked
not
up?
seen Tough Enough 2? Well, we
Yeah.
Tough Enough 2.
Well, we teamed up. We
We
teamed
teamed
up
on we
there.
teamed on that one. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I
We've
mean,
Yeah,
never been
I
we've
mean,
never
in
been a
the
tag team together, but actually, that would be probably we'd probably be a pretty good tag team. I would think.
yeah. I agree. I agree.
I mean,
Yeah,
in the traditional sense, like maybe people didn't watch that and gravitate over, but you know,
yeah,
Right. Sure. 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 So Al,
yeah.
hey, you take the lead on this one, man, because you know a lot more
Okay,
about it.
sure. We started I was approached by Eric Watkins and Broken Icon Comics a while ago about creating a comic book story. Um, it's kind of based on the wrestling characters, but it's not about wrestling per se. Um, since all of the adventures pretty much happen inside in my own mind type of thing, because I'm a little bit medically off. So there are two different titles. The first was the Ballad of Al Snow and Head, and it was set in a post-apocalyptic world, and where I think I'm running a detective agency, and I overhear that a barmaid has lost her heart to somebody, meaning she fell in love with them, but I think that somebody stole her heart, and take a case and decide to go retrieve it. And nobody really wants my help, but I'm still trying to help them. And the second
Just just like
one,
just like wrestling, just like wrestling.
yeah, just like wrestling, it's pretty much the same thing. Eric approached me about he wanted to do like the old Marvel team up comic books, and asked me if I had anybody that I could suggest. And I honestly, God, I immediately thought of Chavo because I remembered Pepe, and I thought it would be cool if we were to do a Western um, uh, story. So Chavo with Pepe and me with Head, and so Eric sat down and wrote a really fun and it's really pretty cool story. Um, and the artwork is just absolutely amazing. One of the little details is that wherever you see Chavo riding Pepe, there's always a cloud of dust or whatever, and you can't tell that he's not on the horse. Like it looks like
I
he's
love it.
actually riding a real horse, and so it's they're a lot of fun, and they're a different kind of story, and yeah, they're the actual wrestling characters, but kind of reimagined in a different light. And some of the people that have been working on the comic books, like they're like heavy hitters in the comic book industry, and I'm just blown away by some of the amazing artists and the inkers and the letterers and things that have worked on these books, on these titles. It's very flattering, and once you see the artwork and you see the quality of the books and the story that Eric put together, it's really impressive.
Yeah, wrestling, and comics go hand in hand now. Really, anytime you go to a Comic Con, it's not just about comics and superheroes. It's wrestling is right in there, and we,
Yeah,
in a sense, are comic book heroes and superheroes. So when
true.
Al approached me to team up with him on this, and Eric was talking to me about it, I was a no brainer right away. I wanted to work with my buddy Al, but at the same time have both of our characters and our alter egos in the sense of Pepe and Head kind of immortalized in a Western to where we're both playing it pretty straight, but he's got this head thing with him, and I got this Pepe thing with me, and it's kind of like you just think it's normal, but we're playing it pretty straight, and we're it's a serious comic with some little fun things sprinkled in.
it,
Yeah, and there's lots of homages to both Chavo's career and mine that are little Easter eggs throughout the book that are either drawn in or referenced to. But unlike a typical wrestling comic book. It's not centered around what happens in the ring or what happens in the arena. It's, like I said, this is a completely different. It's totally a Western adventure, and like to Chavo's point, it's played completely straight. It's just the only thing that's crazy is, he's riding a stick horse and I'm carrying around a disembodied head, so treating it like a person.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, that's other than that. I mean, everything else is pretty much pretty straightforward.
If we're gonna print this and post the video, but if anybody watching for reference wants to check it out, the Kickstarter's live now. There's some of the artwork that's up right now. It's easy to find. You just search Al Snow and it's the first option that comes up. You mentioned the first book. You can also find on the website, on the Broken Icon Comics website. But both of these have a really cool, obviously, besides Al being the center of the book, the reference to the old Apter mags, or as I talked to Bill last week, they're the Weston magazines. So that's like one of the alternate covers. There's another alternate cover here. There's a Vaqueros cover. So there's a lot of cool kickbacks for people that are pledging for it. So if you want to see what the book's about, what Al and Chavo are talking about, just search Al Snow on Kickstarter or The Adventures of Al Snow and Head featuring Chavo Guerrero Jr. The full title, you'll find it.
So real quick, when I was running with Pepe and he was running with Head and Nick Floyd was doing the Sacco gimmick, there's a magazine cover, a wrestling magazine cover that I still have framed up in my gym that has got all three of us on the cover, and it says the craziest wrestlers in wrestling, and it has him with Head, me with Pepe, and Mick with Mr. Sacco. So it's pretty cool to be able to work right. It's like a no-brainer to me to work together with Al and kind of put this together, and it was kind of right away when he approached me, I was like, yeah, it fits.
Yeah, and the artist. Chavo looks like a real badass in this comic book. It fits right in. Like just because of the Pepe gimmick and everything. When Eric was asking for an idea, I was like, "Oh, we should do a Western. It would be so cool to do a Western." Yeah,
great idea.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to. I've done a couple movies and some acting and stuff. I'd always love to be a cowboy in a movie. I've never gotten the opportunity to do that, so that'd be a lot of fun.
Westerns are still some of my favorites, so it's kind of cool to be utilized into a Western comic book. And we already have a lot of people asking about this. I mean, I have people like just searching it all over the place and really want to be a part of it, and own this. And Al and I are definitely going to be signing some limited edition covers and getting those out there to people too. So keep an eye out for those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Western just makes sense. I mean, obviously you have a history of people being cowboys, but the stick horse and
right.
There's some really cool stuff going on. But you guys have, like, obviously this is a team up, but you also have your own respective names attached to different brands, like Al with OVW and Collar and Elbow, and then Chavo, you have a beer, and then you're branching out into Hollywood as a stunt coordinator. How much are you working with the writers, the pencilers and all that, just to kind of make sure that it's somewhat accurate to wrestling? Because you said it's not the in-ring stuff, but it's still a wrestling story because that's where you guys come from. So how much are you like paying attention to make sure, a wrestler wouldn't do this, or his grip on a headlock would be like this if they draw it, or just the minute stuff like that?
I think been really fortunate because Eric and a lot of the guys that are working on the comic book are genuinely wrestling fans, and Eric takes great pains to loop both Chavo and myself in. Like he'll send the script and then give us the opportunity to read through it, and if there's anything that needs to be revised or changed, then he's right on it and adjusts it as necessary. But to be quite honest, I mean, everybody seems to have such a grasp of what the characters are, and how they fit in that particular world, that for me, I mean, I just haven't really had to do a whole lot of editorializing type of stuff. I mean, it's and it's they're artists, so you have to let them be artists and work within their vision. But it's amazing how well connected Eric and the artist seem to be with understanding what's intrinsic to both Chavo's character and my own, and then how to incorporate that into a different setting, into this Western type setting. So they've remained pretty true to the characters, and then also to little details that little mannerisms that Chavo does in the ring and things like that, and myself that as you're reading it or you're looking at it, you pick up on visually or script wise, and it's been pretty remarkable that you don't feel pretty confident that they're not going to do anything. And if I ever felt that way, I would never have brought it to Chavo or anyone else for that matter. That they would disparage or do anything to harm the reputation or the characters that everybody's worked so hard to develop. So they've been doing an amazing job. I mean, it's really has just been a great thing, really a wonderful experience.
Yeah, what's cool is that we have Eric, who's absolutely is a fan, and it's not just some guy thinking, "Hey, we can make some money on his comic book." Well, he already had his own store for a long time, his comic book store, and was a wrestling fan. So actually put two and two together and came up with this. So we really didn't have to police or edit him very much, because he really had a great grasp on outside of the characters and just kind of an idea where he wanted to go with the story.
When I was doing research, if I have this correctly, you haven't worked together too much. Like, I know you faced off a few times in singles and tag action, but most of it was 2002 WWE.
We did something. We used to do some tag stuff with when we were doing Tough Enough thing. Me, him, and Bob Holly did some triples and stuff like that. But one thing that was really cool is that we worked for Dave Hero at one of his big
Blizzard
shows, Blizzard Brawl. Yeah, and Al and I were the main event, so we were just like, hey, let's just go out and have fun, and we did. And at one point, there was somebody out there had a stick horse, and he was like, grab that stick horse. So I rather grabbed it, rode it. He had a head, they had head. We ended up switching that. I think at one point I had the head, one he had the stick horse. It was a lot of fun. People, I get a lot of feedback from that still. People see that and go, you know what, you guys, when we're having fun in the ring, they're having fun in the ring. And we definitely did have a good time in the ring.
Absolutely. And you can tell sometimes when with certain guys, like you have a certain chemistry with, and I knew whenever Chavo and I would ever have an opportunity to work with each other, for us in wrestling, we have a saying that it's either like pulling teeth or it's like a night off. And with Chavo, it's like a night off. It's so easy. Those are the nights that make you really know why you do it and make you want to do it again and again, because when you get an opportunity like that, you get a chance to get in there with somebody like Chavo. You don't have to, you don't talk ahead of time. You don't think, you just do. And the other guy seems to know just what you're doing and why you're doing it, and how to react and when to react, how much to react. And you do the same off of him, and you just play off each other. And the crowd does exactly what you want, when you want, the way you want, as much as you want. And it's effortless. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Chavo, but you don't hurt. You're not sore. I mean, it's like, it's magic. It really is. And that's, you always are now chasing that high. Yeah. That's where you get addicted, is because you have those nights, and then you're like, God, I just want to do that every night. That's all I want to do, and it's an amazing feeling.
You get in the ring with an Al, and it's the trust and the respect is there. So that it's just, he's got one thing in mind, and that's to have a great match. I've got one thing in mind, and that's to have a great match, and that's it. There's no, alter what do you call it, feelings out there, or we just know we want to go out there and just put on the best match possible, win or lose. It doesn't even matter. We just want to give these people their money's worth. And you don't always get that in wrestling, and especially even at the highest levels. And when you're in WWE, you're in AEW, when you're in New Japan, it's not always like that. Still sometimes there's a fight out there, and that when I get in the ring with Al, that's the reason why we became pro wrestlers. It makes it so easy and so fun, and the bumps don't hurt and the punches don't hurt, and we're having just a great time in that ring, and we get out of there and you're just like that's why we do what we do right there. And it's not always the case. You're chasing that a lot. But when you get matches like that and you get in the ring with an Al Snow, you're just like, we work hard in there, but it's still a night off. It's like it's easy.
Yeah.
It's like you go for a 3-mile run, and sometimes those 3-mile runs take it completely out of you. And sometimes you breeze through them like, wow, that was easy. Well, a match with Al is one of those easy runs. It's like nothing.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting that was the one singles match that I found that, like, I know there was a bunch of 3-way tag team matches. Al was with Maven, Chavo, you were with Bill DeMott, and then Billy and Chuck were mixed in there a few times. And then there was a few traditional tag team matches, but I don't know. I figured you guys would have worked together more, at least.
Yeah, we never really got the opportunity. I wish we had.
We're gonna have Dave Hero bring us back. Dave, listen, bring us back to do something, a tag or together or something for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute! You own a wrestling organization now. Hey, Al, you own I forgot about that.
I forgot about it too. Oh, I forgot too. I was like, hey, wait a minute. He's right.
There you go. March 29th, you have an event coming up. So I think Chavo just picked a fight and you have a date.
Yeah.
So. Well, it'd be a night off, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's the booker, so we already know who's going to go over.
Yeah, it's usually not me, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, right.
But,
especially when you're the booker, you gotta put
and
everybody else over.
When you get in the ring and you're with somebody like that, it's like, oh, you go over. No, you go over. No, you go over.
Oh
yeah,
no,
you go over.
Yeah.
So that's good fun.
Yeah, that is what it. I had one night I got in an argument with George South about who was going over. Now, when you hear that statement, you think, oh, you both were arguing about, well, I want to win. Right. And it wasn't. Right. It was, no, let me lose. And then he's like, no, I'm going to lose. And I'm like, no, I'll put you over. And he's like, no, I'm going to put you over. And we were literally standing there arguing about who was going to put the other one over.
OVW Fight Night is Tuesday, March 29th. Any other big events you have coming up that you want to promote?
April 30th, what we're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, is I creatively try to work a 4-week span to a TV event like what we're holding on March 29th on Fight Night. And then I try to then use that to either polish up some things or launch new things, and then carry that forward creatively to a pay-per-view event, which we'll hold on April 30th. And we're on Fight TV every Thursday night, 7:00 Eastern to 9:00, and we're live. So outside of WWE and AEW, I think we're the only other company that does live TV. And then we do the pay-per-views on Fight as well. So April 30th, you can catch the pay-per-view, and we'll, this past 2 Saturdays ago, we just had a pay-per-view, and we had the main event was a scaffold match. Nobody's done one of those in, years. We had a great show. We had standing room only in the building, and had a great night. And so we're really starting to get momentum in OVW, and really finally starting to get the talent on the same page, getting them reacquainted with the actual art of wrestling, of actually being able to work a match, not just perform it or go out and wrestle a match, but actually work a match, which is the ability to allow you, the audience, to believe in the only thing that's not real, which is that they're out there trying to win, that they're out there for the why and not just the what. And it's working. The talent are starting to get into that concept, and the audience is enjoying it. So I'm very grateful to, be here and be involved with OVW and have an opportunity to maybe leave something behind in the business. So
I say that a lot with everybody, and people will ask me a lot of times, like, I want to get break into business, and I would say, well, guys, you first thing first, you have to get trained by somebody reputable that's not just going to take your money, that really cares about training you. And you got a guy like Al Snow, that's the guy. Like, between him and Booker T's another one, these guys are giving back to this business that's given them so much, but it's a lost art form. And you have somebody that doesn't want to just, a spot fest out there. They actually care about putting these fans on roller coaster rides and tugging at their emotion strings. And it's few and far between now. Even at the upper levels, it's really not always there. So you got a guy like Al Snow that really cares that, and there's a reason why that his OVW is successful and is making waves and is on Fight TV with the big boys. It's because he's doing something right, and that's 100% true. I say that all the time. Al is he knows his stuff, man, and if you really want to learn this business, that's the guy to go to.
On the other side of the camera, you're working on Young Rock Tuesday. Yep. Tomorrow night's the premiere.
That's right.
Anything?
Yeah. Good luck.
Anything you can preview for season 2?
Yeah, I won't go too much into it, but you know what? Young Rock is a fun show. It does not deal with so many different drama issues, racism or misogynism. It's just a fun show. You watch the show and you leave, and it's like, great, 30 minutes gone, and it's like it's fun. It's great. We have sprinkled in a lot of the old time wrestlers. We got some new things coming up too. Not to give away too much things, but we did some more wrestling this season, and everybody's really loving the wrestling. It's not just the wrestling fans; everybody. They remember, the old Samoans and the Iron Sheik and all of that. Rocky Johnson. People are such fans of those. That was the glory days of wrestling, and we really touch on that stuff. And it's fun. It's a fun show. So. NBC, March 15th, check it out. It's season 2 starting, and we're going we went a little deeper for sure, but it's great.
Yeah,
agree with Chavo. It's a very fun show to watch. It's not.
Thanks, man.
Like you said, it's not a lot of shows now want to try to be preachy or whatever, and or get into other things. This is what it is. It's a fun comedy show, and wrestling is a backdrop. And with a family, it's a family show too. It's about a family, and some of the weird and crazy things that you got to go through because you're living a life that others don't live. You don't do the typical 9 to 5, type of job. Well, then you got some interesting things that occur and create for funny circumstances because of that, and the characters, the personalities involved as well. So, because some of these guys are as big and as large a life personalities outside the ring as they are
even bigger.
Yeah.
I think you guys can appreciate this, but what really sold me on the show was the I think it was the first episode or the second one where he bought the car from the crackhead. That story's been around, but then he also recently, compared to when the show premiered, like had just bought Harvey Whippleman and Bruno the truck.
Right.
Yeah.
That made its way on social media. So like it was kind of fresh in your mind. And then you see it on the show and you're like, oh, I heard this story. And then you take a little bit of creative license, but it's still the story, and it's retold in a funny and, somewhat offbeat way. And you're like, okay, this isn't just going to be a retelling of his life. It's going to be funny. Like you guys said, it's a family show at heart that happens to feature wrestling, and there's these larger than life characters. So,
and you have to understand, Bill, and there's not much, if any, creative license with those stories. Those stories actually happen exactly the way that you watch them transpire on the show.
A lot of them
just because it seems like, oh my God, there's no way this could possibly happen in reality is trust me, in the wrestling world, there's so many. Chavo and I have so many stories. We tell each other, we're like, oh yeah, of course, but I've told people from every walk of life stories of stuff that have happened in the wrestling business. Like, there's no way like that. No, that doesn't happen. You're like, no, that does. And these people really exist. And I run into them all the time, So trust me, what you see on that screen, as far as like the Young Rock, like the stories and stuff, those stories probably aren't embellished very much, if at all. I'm sure Chavo could attest to that.
It's pretty true. It's pretty true. That's one thing that wrestling right now, it's because it's such a big resurgence and it's really all over the place, is that you see a lot of things like let's say, for instance, Dark Side of the Ring. We love those, are great stories and they're awesome. That's part of wrestling. But really, that's like 5% of wrestling. 95% of wrestling is awesome. It's great. It's fun. That 5% were, a lot of those are tragic, and there were, tragedies and really dark parts of wrestling, but it's so few and far between that and I love that show. It's a great show, and I was involved in it with something, but wrestling is so awesome. There's 95% of it's amazing, and that's what we try to touch on with Young Rock is the fun parts.
Yeah.
I agree with Chavo. I mean, Chavo probably could relate to it more than I could, is because he grew up in it, just like The Rock did. There's no other way to live. Quite honestly, I don't think either one of us would ever change the life that we've had because of it. Even as many challenges, and there are, like you said, there are dark times and there are hard times, and but just some of the most ridiculous, absurd, and you just got to laugh. I mean, and I think that's one of the things I like about when I watched the Young Rock television show. It's like I can tell, like, that all of the stuff that you're seeing on there, that like legit, that you're like, well, yeah, of course that happened. It's the wrestling business.
Absolutely. In fact, if it's probably toned down, they probably toned it down for the show.
Oh, without a doubt.
That's what I kind of meant by like creative license. Like maybe it's designed to fit into a half-hour sitcom, but the story's there.
You're looking at NBC, a primetime show. We're not going to show a lot of the Iron Sheik's real antics.
If you want that, just go on his Twitter feed.
Go on YouTube. You'll see. But he's definitely a character, and he's an awesome guy.
Without a doubt.
He's a guy that was one of the boys forever. So,
well,
absolutely.
Young Rock tomorrow premieres season 2, fight night March 29th, and then you said you have the big pay-per-view April 30th.
Yes.
Go check out the Kickstarter. It's going on now. There's a bunch of perks. The comic is coming out. It's pretty close to meeting the goal. So I feel like it's safe to say it's coming out.
Hurry up! It's going to come up.
There you go.
Yeah. I'm very proud of it, and and trust me, if I wasn't proud of it, I wouldn't put my name on it, and I certainly would never approach Chavo to want to be a part of it. I certainly wouldn't. I'm really, really proud of being a part of this, and really proud of the work that Eric Watkins and Broken Icon Comics and all of the people that have worked on the book. I'm so honored and flattered by how incredibly it's turned out. I really, really am, and I can't wait for everybody to see it.